one of these days. Hey, everybody, welcome to Thursday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, here with comedians known as Talent, comedian known as Fig. And, of course, if you guys don't know it, these guys have been around in the comedy game for such a long time. These guys have been in films, commercials, festivals. They've been in everything that you could name. Anything pertaining to comedy since, probably since the 80s, these guys have been in comedy. And that time frame just hit me just now. It's 2020. That's
son. It wasn't the 80s, son.
Okay, so it was the 90s.
I need you to introduce me as a new comic.
Okay, there you go. New comic known as Talent with an exclamation point. There you go.
I've only been in the game a week.
Exclamation point, exclamation point. Anyway, now these comics are in this show that we call Box Seats, which is a show we talk about sports. And the first thing I want to jump off and talk to you guys about is something we talked a little bit about yesterday, was about the Justin Turner on the field with the World Series and everything else. And, I heard a lot more after we had the show yesterday. And some of the stuff I'm starting to agree with. Major League Baseball is very upset with him. They're real upset with him. And now they said talk about suspending him and everything else. Now, my thing to you guys, and I'm going to throw it out to you, Talent, first. And I'm going to say this. If Major League Baseball wants to make an impression on how serious they think this is, it should be. I think they should suspend this Turner kid for a very long time. Not talking about 1 or 2 games. Because he was very adamant against the official, saying, I'm not coming off the field. Now, I understand when they won the World Series and everything else, but there are bigger issues to be had, I think, than talking about winning the World Series. You talk about your life, putting other people's lives at jeopardy with this. But that's my opinion. What's your opinion about Justin Turner and how Major League Baseball should handle this situation? Because they're saying right now they're going to suspend it. That's what they're saying. What's your thoughts?
Wow, so a suspension, huh? That's yeah. Well, I think that's about right. Again, it was reckless. You know what I mean? Everything was reckless and inconsiderate, to say the least. So I think a suspension is kind of fits the situation. We'll see. I guess it remains to be what kind of suspension, but yeah, I think that's about right, man. I mean,
right. But how long would you say? Basically the question is how long to make a real impression on everybody else in the league. How long would you say that they should do? Because Major League Baseball is known for and they have to shake this this thing that everybody sees them with kid gloves, because how they handle steroids and everything else. They feel everybody handles steroids. Now I'm thinking Major League Baseball needs to put on real gloves right about now. So I guess the question is to you is how long should the suspension be? And I'm not talking about a week or two, in my opinion. I mean, what's your thought process? Should it be a week or two? Should it be longer? Should it be half the season?
Well, I don't think you do weeks, man. I think you do games. Mm-hmm. I think in sports, man, weeks don't mean nothing, because I can say weeks, and in those certain weeks, you only miss a couple of games. But when you say games, I think that's a bigger impact on a player. So let's say, because they're talking about shortening the season, if they come in and let's say you got a 100-game season, I think, man, a quarter of your season should go. Okay. I think a quarter of the season should go.
All right, I'll give you that. Faye, I'm gonna ask the same question to you. Do you think Justin Turner should be in a handful of games, some of the games, half the season? Major League Baseball is definitely going to suspend him. That's a fact. What's your thought process on what they should do?
Well, the first thing, I thought it was hilarious that you said Major League Baseball needed to take their gloves off. I mean, that was hilarious. I mean, listen, man, to me it's kind of hypocritical, man, because first off, they knew there was a pandemic since March and they still wanted to play. You know what I mean? They sent them guys out there, whatever. They knew somebody was going to get it. You know what I mean? They had no protocol for this when somebody gets it and stuff like that. This guy won the World Series. Now you want to suspend him? How you going to suspend me and I'm at home? That's what I want to know. I mean, it's still home. The season is over. What are you going to do? You going to carry it into the next season? That's dumb. It might not even be another season, man. This thing is getting worse. Yo, man, the thing is this, man. It's like, look, if you had a protocol in place, like the NBA, that's what I would go to. If I was an attorney, the first thing I would say, well, what was your protocols for if somebody tested positive? You know what I mean? You found out the day of. What was your protocols? You know what I mean? What did you have in place? Was there a bubble? You know what I mean? Did you have protocols in place like the NBA? I'd go right to the NBA. I'd bring their blueprint. I'd show it to to Major League Baseball and say, did you have anything like this in place? What were your guidelines going for, beforehand. How you gonna punish a guy? That is the worst thing in the world. Like, you have no rules and no standards, and then when something happens, then you want to do it hindsight. You want to punish me hindsight after the fact. But what was the rules before?
Well, they had, listen, to be fair, they had rules. The rules were in place. We just didn't see them the way that we saw with the NBA. They didn't have like fans like the NBA and everything else. But I guess the question remains is well, it shouldn't even be really the question. If you're going to act up, I guess, right, Talent, you're going to act up. The last game of the season is the best time to act up because chances are, you know, you're not going to be suspended for the remainder of the season because the series is over. You're acting up in the World Series. It's over. You know,
right.
What we carry in the next season, like Fig did make a good point. He might not even have a baseball career anymore. He can get into a car accident tomorrow. God forbid anything could happen to him. He might not even be in baseball anymore. So what does Major League Baseball do? I mean, suspension is the thing. I'm thinking, but how do you set a precedent to the other players? Like you got to do something. If you're the commissioner of the league, Major League Baseball, I'm feeling you have to do something, and you got to do something drastic because this is utterly ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the reason why you have to do something, guys, let's not forget that. Like Fig just said a point that you have to listen to your own point, Fig, is that this thing may or may not be going anywhere anytime soon. So right. I have to set the precedent now because we are going to most likely be in another season with this pandemic among us. So I am setting that precedent and that protocol that you mentioned now. I'm creating it in real time so that going forward next season, somebody gets that in their brain and their idea, oh, I'm positive, but we got pizza today. I want to show up because it's Pizza Friday. You know, so you have to set the protocol now because, this is new to everybody. So I understand how they set some things up and maybe not have everything in place. And shit reminds me of Def Jam when they forgot to tell people don't boo. And you go into filming and production, and the first taping, people were booing. That's what happened in front of Bernie Mac that made him say, I'm not scared of you MFers, you know, because
right.
Then they ran to the store, made signs. Okay, these are the rules, no boo. So baseball's in that predicament right now. Baseball's right there with like, oh my God, we didn't think of this. This is what we're gonna do though. So when we do that, we set the precedent, we put our foot down. Everyone now knows in the offseason, can't do that.
You know what? I think it's just like, I don't know what the rules were. So I have to take this, you know, I have to walk, you know, a little softly on this. Like, I don't know what the rules was in advance, but it's just like, if I'm driving down the road, I'm doing 80 and a cop pulls me over and gives me a ticket. I was like, yo, but what's the speed limit? You ain't had no signs up. Like, what was the speed limit? Yeah, well, the speed limit was 65 and you was doing 80. I was like, but where was the signs to tell me that the speed limit was 65 and I'm going over? Like, how do I know if I'm going over if you didn't set no rules in advance? That's the only thing I'm saying. So if there was rules in advance and he broke those rules, then I can see you punishing him. But if you ain't have no standards in place and the guy just came, I mean, you know, they're celebrating the World Series. I thought it was, to me, the best at best, I thought it was irresponsible and a little bit selfish for him to go out there knowing that he tested positive, even though he was asymptomatic, that he was going out there in a group, taking a group picture. First he had his mask on, then you see him take the mask off. To me, I was like, that's irresponsible and selfish to be able to do something like that, knowing that you can infect others. But then again, what were the rules in place before that? That's the only thing I'm saying.
Not only did he take his mask off, he was kissing his girlfriend on the field. He was sitting next to Dave Roberts, who's a cancer survivor. He put all the people in his area affecting them all around them. I thought that was one of the most irresponsible things, especially since Dave Roberts is a recent cancer survivor. I'm like,
I agree.
I was like, maybe I'm overreacting, but I wanted the dude to get arrested. I mean, yeah, I was like, go off the field like right now. I mean, come on, y'all know how serious this is, man.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, you know, but here's the thing. Like Talon said, it's brand new to all of us, and nobody knows what the rules are. Look, we got militia marching on government buildings, you know, because they don't want to wear a mask and they want businesses to open up. Like, this whole thing got people crazy right now. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's move on with the conversation because we all know we could talk about COVID for a whole hour, but
Absolutely.
we got to talk about sports, everything else. So in the NBA yesterday, Steven Silas is now got appointed the new coach of the Houston Rockets. He was a Dallas Mavericks assistant. He's been an assistant for 20 years. He came under Rick Carlisle and Steve Clifford and everything else. He got a 4-year contract. Now, I'm going to throw this out to you guys because he's a similar coach to Rick Carlisle. So, Talon, do you think that, well, he has a similar coaching style. Like he's one of those guys who's all about offense, oh, defense, offense, oh, defense. You know what I mean? He's that kind of coach, like how Rick Carlisle is. You know what I mean? So they come from that same tree. I guess I'm gonna ask you, Talon, does this seem like it's a good fit for you with Steve Silas being hired as the coach down in Houston?
I can't. I'm in the middle of that. Like I don't want to diss anybody or make anybody seem less than, but I honestly say I don't know. I can honestly say like this is one of those things that can go either way. Again, we know there's going to be a couple of personnel changes there. So going with the new personnel changes, hopefully, I mean, in a perfect world, he'll be able to settle in with his own structure and climate. You know what I mean? His own situation, and not coming in just be another pawn in the James Harden, situation and stuff like that. So Houston is a real tricky project. You know what I mean? And it remains to be seen whether somebody's coming in with their own culture and climate, or if they're coming to be a pawn in what the culture and climate already is. That's where it's going to be. We're either going to see results or not.
Right.
Because if you stick into the culture and climate, I don't see any results.
I don't either. Fig, what's your thought process?
Isn't that's a young black dude, right?
Actually, I have no idea what he looks like. I can't even begin to tell you.
I think it's a young. I was looking at something like that. They think it's a young cat. I mean, listen, anybody that goes to Houston and doesn't shake it up a little bit is crazy. And you go in there as what they call a lame duck. You putting your head on the chopping block. If you go there, you're not going to bring something different because. I mean, look, the thing is that everything that Houston did previously looks great during the regular season and through like the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. But, when you meet a team that is defensively sound, it doesn't work. James Harden wears out and he gets tired. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. You cannot go through 7 game, like 3 and 4 7-game series, where you're shooting at that clip because that the playoff season shortens. It's not elongated, and there's no time and no room for rest. And James Harden burns out every year. We've seen it over and over and over again. We've seen this movie. So if you're coming in with the same system, it's not going to work. James Harden wants to win. Yeah. He has to have a coach come in there and sort of shake things up a little bit.
I can't even disagree with you, but since we're talking about Dallas, since this coach came from Dallas, it seems like the Dallas Mavericks are out there and looks like they're buyers right now. So Dallas is not only did they, shake little things up with their coaching staff, they're trying to put together another star with Doncic and Porzingis. And the 3 names that are being thrown out there right now is Drew Holiday, CJ McCullum for Portland, and Rudy Gobert to match up with and obviously match them up in Dallas. Now, I don't know how they're going to make these things work because a lot of money is not fitting. I'm thinking that they're going to probably do some trades with some of these other teams with a couple of draft picks and some money in the deals and everything else. But out of Drew Holiday, CJ McCullum, and Rudy Gobert, Talon, who would you like to see join Doncic or Porzingis? Holiday, McCullum, or Gobert? Talon,
yeah, I'm thinking. Oh. That's not an easy question, That's.
I try to stump you every now and then. You know what I'm saying? I try to stump you.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Damn. I'm gonna have to go. McCullum.
Okay.
Because and the reason it's so close is because. You're not taking nothing away from any player. They're all great in their own right. They're all doing their thing. But you also got to take in consideration the position and the style of play of a Porzingis. Because he's tall, but he's that play around the 3-point line and the thing me and Fig always cringe about, the big man staying on the outside. He plays that kind of game. So if you're gonna try to complement his play with a good player, I would take Gobert out of there because of the fact the type of game he plays. So now I'm going down to a McCullum and the guard play more so much. The Holiday and the McCullum, and then I would have to say the style of play and getting other players involved. I would edge out with McCullum being a better fit to go side by side with a Porzingis.
Okay, Fig, what was your thought process?
Man, I as soon as Sean said McCullum, I shook my head. Yeah, I don't know how effective a Drew Holiday could be because Doncic is ball dominant. You know what I mean? He handles the ball a lot, sort of like what a point guard would be like in LA with LeBron dominating the ball the way that he does. That seems to be sort of like what Luka does. And even though what's his name? Oh God, the tall dude, the center that you just said. He's not a banger. You know what I mean? He's tall. He could Gobert. He could block shots, but he's not a banger. He can get some alley-oops, a couple of dunks and stuff like that, but he's not a rebounding machine. So that's not really that's not going to help out Porzingis. It's not going to help out in the paint. CJ McCollum, man, he's a player. He can spot up and shoot. You know what I mean? He's a scorer. So that means it just gives him another scorer. But I like me, I'm the type of dude that, like, if you a team and you good and you got all your surrounding pieces, to me, you need a serviceable center, or at least somebody that can play like a Dennis Rodman, somebody that you can count for double-figure rebounds every night, or somebody that could just bang a little bit, you know what I mean, in the paint. Because for the regular season, it's beautiful. As soon as we get to the playoffs, we got an entirely different game. Okay. It's entirely different. It slows down, and then you need specialists.
Right.
That's it. A specialist is what you need on Dallas.
All right, so let's move the conversation along and talk about continuing people who are buyers and sellers right now. Also heard through the grapevine that the 76ers are buying and selling, and they're inquiring about James Harden. Now, of course, NBA the 76ers, sources are saying the 76ers are trying to make a play for James Harden. I'm going to say this right now. I don't know how that's going to happen and how that even makes sense, but I think Joel Embiid will be in the mix for the trade and everything else. But let's just say talent, that James Harden and Joel Embiid are traded for each other because the money works. I haven't checked into the money just yet about this and everything else, but let's just say that's it. Does James Harden fit with what Doc Rivers is trying to do? Because that's how I feel. I feel like I wouldn't.
These questions today, Frank, tell me you've been up late last night. I think he's been up doing his homework last night. They've been answering this stuff too fast. Let me stab them and make them think. Because damn. See, when you say no to questions like this, I try to put myself in the listener or the viewership seat. And it's going to sound a lot of times like we don't like somebody or we're saying something negative. I'm not saying that negative. I actually respect and like a James Harden. However, I'm Doc Rivers. I just left a situation, coming into a new situation, putting my stamp on it, creating my own climate and rules and regulations. Do I take a huge jump backwards and bring in somebody like James Harden? As good as he is.
But tell him, I would say this before you finish your answer. I'm going to say this. Do you notice the consistent thing that's happening every single day on the board that we keep hearing? We keep hearing that the 76ers are trying to do something, and Joel Embiid is part of whatever they're trying to do. So Doc Rivers is going to do something, and I think Joel Embiid is going to be that something.
No. I'm with you on that. I get that. I'm actually in total agreement. You got to go in there and make some major pow real quick to get the respect of the climate you're creating. However, you can't tell me that's not a couple of giant heat miser steps backwards, bringing in a guy who has his own climate. Mm-hmm. If I'm trying to bring my climate I don't team up with a guy that I know is bringing. Perfect example is the argument we was just having about LeBron, his climate with the NBA. Well, I'm taking the month off. Like, this is a mega star that has his own climate. James Harden, I don't care what team you put him on, he's coming with a climate. If
That's
I'm the
right.
guy that's got to bring the new climate, do I want to bring a guy that's coming with a climate? I promise you sunshine. I can't bring a cloud.
True, but Fig, I would throw this to you, Fig. If you add James Harden with Ben Simmons, tell me that doesn't shake up the entire Eastern Conference right there.
I mean, it does, man. But if you think about it like this, they both need the ball. Ben Simmons is not a spot-up shooter. He's not going to go down in the paint and bang. So
No, but
Ben
he is
Simmons,
a flasher to the basket. So when he flashes to the basket, if he feels like he's getting triple team, he can throw the ball to the outside, and James Harden, with chances are, he'll hit that shot.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The major piece is we're talking about Doc Rivers.
Okay.
Let's talk about Doc Rivers players that he's been somewhat successful with. Doc Rivers likes dogs. Big dog, like dogs that get down and play defense. We talking about a Paul Pierce, a Kevin Garnett, Rondo, Ray Allen, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Beverly. Like Doc likes dogs.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden, and he's not that dude. James Harden is like a prima donna. He's not that dog. He's not gonna play no. Look, they call him the Matador D. He don't play no defense hardly. I mean, I'm not saying he don't play none, but he's not playing the hard defense that Doc Rivers like. That's not a fit. If that's your star, and this is your style of play, you're in trouble. It's like oil and vinegar. That don't mix. That is not going together. James Harden and Doc Rivers' style is not going. And unless you're going to tell me that one of those two are going to change drastically, then I don't see those two fitting together at all. James Harden and Doc Rivers, I don't see it. It don't look like it works to me.
I'll say this for the record. A lot of people who haven't won come into a climate, no matter how big the star is, they're willing to come into a climate and listen and pay attention to a coach who has won. So I'm thinking James Harden is willing to listen to whatever Doc Rivers, because Doc got the pedigree. You know what I mean? I don't think it really works either to some certain degree, but you never know. I mean, because, we all know when you've been in something in any league, whether it's NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, if you haven't won and you've been in the for years, you will come in and say, listen, I want to win. I want to win a chip. What do I got to do? So he might stop playing defense if Doc gets him. You never know, because we all know those guys want to win an NBA chip real bad, especially when they're in the room with LeBron and all these other dudes and they flashing their rings and they going like this. They don't want to be there like, they don't want to be the Charles Barkley in the room, right, Talent?
Right,
they don't want to be Charles Barkley in the room. They want to be like, nah, I got at least one ring. So Harden might be willing to do anything. But speaking of
right, man, but I'll tell you this: if it was me, and I had Harden, I would rather trust Harden with Joel Embiid rather than Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons, he doesn't do it. Ben Simmons doesn't do anything.
Ben Simmons
cannot shoot.
Ben Simmons is a hard worker and slashes to the basket. If I had to keep one of both, I would keep Ben Simmons. But
you like him. I like Ben Simmons better than Joel Embiid. But if I got to pair him with James Harden, I think if Ben Simmons don't have the ball, he's ineffective.
Okay. The next question I want to bring up there and throw out there is that when you're talking about buyers and sellers, Kevin Love is on the block. Kevin Love is on the block of the Cavs, and the word is that Kevin Love is being shopped mostly to Dallas Mavericks, because they're thinking the Dallas Mavericks might be a great pair to put Kevin Love there. So I'm going to say this to you, Talent. Do you see that working with Kevin Love with Doncic and Porzingis?
It's too many tall white guys.
That's not very prejudiced, bro. It's too many tall black guys.
I say that very affectionately.
Okay.
How is that prejudice? Ain't no difference than a tall black guy like me. Every time I get on an elevator, white people go, "Hey, you play ball?" Yeah, not today, man. I'm on my way to the fifth floor. I'm going to the buffet, like. So, I say that very affectionately, meaning the league is a strategy that we've seen over the years work. And if you what are you going to do? You're going to have. What's Donic's size? I know that Porzingis is over 7. Love is just up on 7. So you put those two guys together. You got Donis. Then where you go with that, because sharing the ball between them, Well, at this stage in the game, here's a plus. The plus is Kevin Love is. We were talking yesterday about role players and being in that stage of your career. Kevin Love is another big shot Bob. That's the role he's come down to now, and is over the cliff part of his career. So it may work, but I don't like it.
All right, but let me just, before I throw it to Fig, let me just throw this out there. If Kevin Love does land on that team with Doncic and Porzingis, we all know, because we watch ball, when the ball moves around and gets to the open man, and Kevin Love can catch the ball, huh?
Fundamentally.
Right. So when the ball moves around, and it moves around, because Kevin Love is going to pass the ball. We all know he ain't taking that big shot. He will pass the ball.
With three big white guys on the same team, you about to see fundamentals at its best.
Yeah, at its prime.
They're going to create a new stat to see who got the most chest passes.
And then who got the best bounce pass to a score with an assist. Because it will happen. If Kevin Love lands on Dallas will. You can't tell me that, Fig, you can't tell me Dallas doesn't become an immediately better team. Kevin Love doesn't land on Dallas. You can't tell me.
Absolutely, because you know what? Listen, I remember Kevin Love before he got with LeBron James. I think LeBron James brought Kevin Love's stock down the same way he did with Chris Bosh, and didn't like those guys playing with LeBron James style of basketball. Kevin Love was a double-double dude when he was with Minnesota. Double numbers in scoring. 20. He was an easy 20-10 dude when he was in Minnesota. That's bring true. That guy and you put him on Dallas. If Kevin Love could get you 15 and 10, Dallas automatically becomes a contender because you got Porzingis and Doncic, and then you got some shooters that's around him. Kevin Love doesn't even have to be a spot-up shooter. Although he can be, that's not his forte. Kevin Love's best game is down in the paint, and he could get you double rebounds every single night. I love that for Dallas, believe it or not, even though, it is three white guys and strongly fundamental. But I'll tell you one thing, I love Kevin Love in the with Dallas because that's a piece that they're definitely missing.
I love it. I think I love it because I just want to see Dallas come up a little bit because I love those young stars they got out there, man. That kid is a beast. Actually, both of those kids, Doncic and Porzingis, I love watching those kids play, man. I think they're great. Now, here's another question I want to leave you before I bring in Stat. Paul George, he can opt out this year, right? Everybody's knowing that Paul George is supposed
to cares?
Everybody knows that Paul George is supposed to stay. Now, he's trade bait because he has the opt-out possibility. He can opt out and everything else. The Pelicans reached out to them to see if they would be willing for a trade. Now, let's just say it happens. You know me, I'm always these hypotheticals. Let's just say Paul George lands on the Pelicans. Would you like to see that trade happen? And does that make Pelicans an immediate better team or worse team? Because we're talking about Paul George here. What do you think, Talon?
I think you're going to be an immediate better team. Because let me explain something to you. I think what we've learned this past season is we learned that Paul George is he needs to be kind of somewhere where he can shine. I think Kawhi got way too much attention, and I think that affected what his output was on that team, and why that part of the reason why that didn't work. So I think going there is a good deal for him because I don't think he's going to look like a threat with Zion the same as he does with a Kawhi because of just youth. I think he's going to look at it like, I'm schooling this young boy. You know what I mean? I got something to teach the young boy. I think with him and Kawhi, I think it was just they couldn't co-do it, especially with Kawhi coming off a chip.
I think it's a great trade. Listen, if Paul George lands on Pelicans, I absolutely love that trade because exactly what you said. Him with Zion would be huge for Zion and Paul George because he could be the teacher. You know what I mean? I think it could be. You always need that veteran to help you with these young dudes, these young stars coming up. You always need that. I think it's a good thing. And I think, just like you said, Paul George and Kawhi might have clashed behind the scenes. Maybe it didn't work like the way they thought it would because they was boys. Who knows? Fig, what's your thoughts?
I love Paul George's veteran presence on New Orleans because they don't have one. They got a bunch of young dudes over there. The only part that I wouldn't like is that if they had to give up Brandon Ingram, because Brandon Ingram, to me, is a budding star. He's a star on the
point.
rise.
Good
you know
point.
what I
Good
mean?
point.
If you got to give up Brandon Ingram for him, I mean,
that's probably who they would do. That's probably what they would do to make it work.
Here's the two untouchables for me. Paul George is to me is on the downside of his career, and Brandon Ingram is on the rise. I would not give up Brandon Ingram. These are my two untouchables: Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. Anybody else you could possibly have for Paul George, but I'm not, especially after what we saw Paul George do in the playoffs. He played horribly for whatever reason. I mean, you're only as good, just like in comedy, you're only as good as your last game. You know what I mean? In comedy, you're only as good as your last show. If you got booed your last show, you can't go to the next promoter asking for, $50,000. They like, yo, dude, you just got booed. What are you talking about? So Paul George did horribly in the playoffs last year, and I'm not giving up Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson to get him.
All right, so let's bring in Stack. Stack, my man Stack. We always check the facts with Stack. Stack.
What's up, fellas?
First of all, did we get anything right or wrong? Did we get anything right or wrong? Because I got to drop some news. Look like some news just dropped about Julian Edelman.
Y'all, clean show so far. We was in the Pelican brief today, so a lot of speculation.
We had to be, bro. We had to be.
A lot of speculation today.
We had to be because, bro, we both know there's a lot going on in the NBA, and you and I talked off camera and everything else. There's probably more stuff going on in the NBA this year than has ever happened.
Ever
happened. So the team makeup and the team outlook and stuff is going to be different. Whatever we saw this year, we're not going to see next year. That's the way it's going to be.
That's true.
News just broke that Julian Edelman will not be playing for the Patriots this Sunday. He got a knee procedure, so he's out. So since we get ready to do our picks and everything else, I'm gonna go out there first and say, even though I'm a Patriots fan, I'm gonna go out there first on the limb and say that the Patriots are not gonna beat the Bills. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Zach, you see the Patriots beating the Bills?
No, I don't. And even though I'm still a Pats fan, I'm not betting with my heart no more on these picks. Man. I ain't sparing y'all no more. Patriots gonna lose to Buffalo. I think they should just mail it in and get that high draft pick and fortify the O-line or get a defensive stud or something like that.
I agree. You know what? I agree with you because here's something that nobody's talking about. The Patriots will have $100 to $120 million to spend next season. So if they tank this year, they're gonna have more cap space than they've ever had in the entire time. And they're going to go out there and purchase veterans more like everybody hasn't seen. And then they're going to try to get maybe one or two quarterbacks to pair up what they're doing. But that's just, what's going to happen between behind the scenes. Now, what's your thoughts, man? You think the Patriots going to beat Buffalo, or you think Buffalo's going to beat them for the pick?
First of all, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm about to make y'all look crazy because I think Patriots going to win this week.
Uh-oh.
I don't see them. I think you're gonna watch some pride kick in this weekend. They're gonna stop the bleeding for a week at least. I don't know who y'all got after them, but I'm gonna go with the Patriots this week.
Okay, Fig, who you
got? I'm flabbergasted. You go with the Patriots.
That's crazy.
Man, let me tell you something, man. Patriots went to the local Piggly Wiggly and assembled a team from the parking lot.
Yeah,
and Cam Newton. Yeah, man. I definitely got the Buffalo Bills, and I don't see the Patriots anything. First off, I don't know how healthy Cam is. You know what I mean? And then who's around him?
Yeah.
I respect you. I respect you. I'm on my Frank Pelican brief week, and I think the coach pulls out a win this week.
Well, you take Cam, you take Julian Edelman out of there, and you're not sure how Cam's playing. I think their win chances even shrunk even further down. The
thing with Edelman is he hasn't really been getting used much this season anyway. So
Cam was throwing the ball. Cam's not throwing the ball, but that's
why I'm not worried about it.
All right, All right. Atlanta's playing Carolina Panthers. They're playing tonight. Christian McCaffrey's not playing. Talent. Who you got?
Who's playing what tonight?
Atlanta playing Carolina Panthers Thursday Night Football. Who you got?
Atlanta.
Okay, Fig, who you got?
Carolina, man. Damn Atlanta.
Okay, all right. He got that. Who you got, Stack?
I'm gonna pick the Falcons again, man, because like they
keep barely losing. They keep barely losing. You know what I mean?
No, they make themselves lose. They have perfected how to lose. They wrote the textbook. If there was loser in the dictionary, will be a Falcons logo.
Yeah, and plus, what's the guy, the quarterback's name?
Matt Ryan or
no for the Panthers. He's not playing. He got a fractured thumb. So I'm going with the Falcons.
I'll take Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta Falcons. Pittsburgh's playing Baltimore. The biggest game I want to see this weekend. Pittsburgh's playing Baltimore Ravens. We all know that's a conference game and everything else. Stack, who you got?
Pittsburgh versus who?
Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore.
Oh, that's a division matchup right there.
Yeah, division. Yeah.
We got Pittsburgh is undefeated right now, but
but Baltimore can knock them out.
Yeah, I think.
You want me to come back to you?
You got to come back to me, man. Damn, that's a tough one, man. Come
I'll take it too long with these answers, man.
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Ravens.
I figure who you got.
I gotta go with Old Faithful, man. You know what? Pittsburgh is playing good on both sides of the ball, man.
Yeah.
So you got Pittsburgh?
I got Pittsburgh.
Who you got? Zach?
Give me Pittsburgh, man.
I want Baltimore to win, though.
Me too. That's it. That's exactly what it is.
But I'm not going that way. I'm going with what I've seen.
Nobody want to hear that shit. Nobody want to hear that shit. Keep going.
Fat burger.
I'm going with Baltimore. Put me down for Baltimore, Fig. Put me down for Baltimore. LA's playing Miami. Tua's first game starting quarterback. But LA's coming in there and seeing what they do. Who you got, Stack? We can start with you. LA's playing Miami. Tua's first game as a quarterback.
It's in LA?
It's at Miami.
Give it to Tua, man. Let's see what Tua can do.
I'm taking LA. Who you got, Fig?
I'm going with the Rams, baby.
Rams.
Oh, it's Rams? I thought you were talking about the Chargers.
That's not. I didn't say neither one. I just said LA.
I mean, they're both LA right now, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just said.
Yeah, my bad. All right, so no. I'm gonna take the Rams on that one. I'm sorry.
Okay. The Jets are playing Kansas City. Is anybody taking the Jets? I don't think anybody's taking the Jets, right? They are a double-digit underdog, a huge double-digit underdog for this one.
Hey, it gotta be. What do you mean double digits? They ain't double digits. It's a triple-digit underdog.
Minnesota is playing Green
City.
Bay. Minnesota's playing Green Bay. Minnesota's playing at Green Bay. Talent. You got Green Bay or Minnesota?
Green Bay all day, baby.
All right, Fig, who you got?
Yeah, Aaron is coming up. He gonna come back, man. I got Green Bay.
Yeah, Stack, you got Green Bay.
Green Bay.
I got Green Bay. Kirk Cousins is playing horribly this year. Matter of fact, he's on the trade block. We're gonna talk about that after this. The Colts are playing the Detroit Lions, and they're playing at Detroit. Stack, who you got?
Detroit.
Okay, Fig, who you got?
The Colts against the Lions. Oh man.
I'll take Detroit. Put me down for Detroit.
Yeah.
Do I got to come back to you?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, Talent, who you got? Detroit?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Detroit.
All
Detroit.
right, Fig, it's on you.
They at Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit.
Oh, they at yeah. All right. Detroit's at home. Okay.
The Raiders
Detroit.
are playing the Browns. Talent, I'm gonna start with you. The Raiders are playing the Browns. Talent, who you got? The Raiders playing the Browns.
Jeez.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders this week. I think the Browns' luck streak slows down this week. I got the Raiders.
All right, Fig, who you got?
I'm going with the Raiders, man.
Okay.
They're gonna get after Baker, man.
Okay. Stack, who you got? Stack.
Hey, okay. I'm gonna go with the Raiders, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders too. I think the Raiders gonna pull it out. Tennessee is playing Cincinnati Bengals. I got Tennessee. I'm going first. I got Tennessee. Stack, who you got?
Tennessee.
Fig.
Tennessee.
Talent, you got
Everybody,
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I am still thirsty.
The Chargers are playing the Broncos.
Who?
The Chargers are playing the Broncos.
Chargers.
Chargers playing the Broncos. Who you got, Talent?
Chargers.
Chargers. Fig, who you got?
Where they playing, Talent?
I don't know.
Denver. They're playing at Denver. I gotta come back to you.
I'm going with Denver.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Chargers.
Okay. The 49ers.
No. I'm going with the Chargers because they got that new kid. They got that young kid. I like that kid.
Frank's boy, Herbert.
Yeah. Herbert. The
Justin
49ers
Herbert.
playing the Seahawks. Game I really want to see too. The 49ers are at Seattle playing the Seattle Seahawks. Cameron, who you got?
Oh my God.
Shit. Damn.
That's easy.
It's easy to me too, but
It seemed easy, but I know when I go gamble, the points are going to be a big part. I'm going to go with Seattle.
Fig, who you got?
I'm going with Seattle and Russell Wilson to make a comeback, man, off of last week.
Who you got?
Seattle.
I got Seattle. New Orleans Saints are playing the Chicago Bears. I'm going to be first to go out there. I'm going to say I'm going to take Chicago. I'm going to take Chicago. Stack,
I'm taking Saints.
I'm taking Chicago.
Yeah. Fig, who you got?
I'm going with the Saints this week, baby.
I'm going with the Saints too.
The Sunday night football game got the Cowboys at the Eagles. They're playing at Philadelphia.
The
Dookie Bowl.
At the Eagles.
Dookie Bowl.
Yeah, I'm going to be the first to say I'm going with the Eagles because Dallas ain't got no kind of quarterback. I'm going with the Eagles. Stack, who you got?
Eagles.
Okay.
Eagles.
Talon, who you got?
I think Dallas pull this off.
Okay. I think you're crazy, especially for the
You hope, or you think?
I think.
Yo, man, they got I don't even know the new where's the new quarterback name, man? I think he just took his bar mitzvah, man.
Hey, the new quarterback.
I don't think it's an offensive thing. Let me say this. I don't think it's an offensive thing. My decision, I think that paychecks are on the line this year.
Yeah.
I think the defense, because Philly ain't no high power shit happening over there either.
Yeah, but jobs, not just paychecks, bro. Jobs are on the line. Last game.
I'm going with Philly.
Yeah, Tampa Bay at the Giants. Tampa Bay.
This is a toss-up. Yeah, I mean,
Toss
man.
up. Yeah, toss
I
up.
was going to win that one.
Toss up to be how much the Giants are going to lose. I think,
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm
people
trying to
saying,
They're going to lose.
the Giants lose by 21 or 28. You know what I'm saying? Stack. I know. Does anybody got the Giants? Let's make it easy. Does anybody got the Giants?
Tom Brady
Is Antonio and this is Antonio Brown's first game, right?
No, it's not. He comes on Tuesday, supposedly. I could be wrong, but right now I already
said he looked good. They said he looked good. I saw something today say he looks good to go for Sunday.
Yeah, he supposedly. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Now, we were talking about some player movement and everything else. We all know, we talked about this yesterday, that there's going to be some trades that's going to happen in the NFL. Now, my question to you guys is, the Vikings are going in the complete other direction, and the Vikings are paying Kirk Cousins a whole lot of money. So, Stack, I'm going to start with you on this one. Should the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins before the deadline? And will they, if they try to trade him, will they have any buyers? That's the big question.
That's what I was about to say. There's no buyers. I don't think they get that trade done, only because I don't think anybody really cares to pay Kirk Cousins what he's getting paid right now. They're gonna have to cut him.
Yeah, because you got to carry that contract right now. And that contract is huge. And his completion levels are at an all-time low. So, Chandler, I guess I'll ask you the same question. Do you see anybody being a buyer for Kirk Cousins? Because Kirk Cousins is being offered for a trade right now. Like they're upset with him. Who do you think?
Dallas.
I was just going to say, you laughing, but I was just going to say, I wouldn't put it past Dallas. You got all these hurt quarterbacks. You got a half a season left.
You know what? That's not a bad idea because
it's not. Because
the Cowboys might actually do it because they're on their fourth string quarterback right now.
Why not?
Yeah, they're playing so bad.
I see that happening, bro.
They're already halfway through the season. You made a good point there. But if he gets cut and they sign him, that's way different than trading for him.
Yeah, and that might happen. He might get cut and he might get signed by anybody. People might take.
Listen, I'll put it to you this way: if you take Kirk Cousins for this year, Dallas gets to unload a lot of their salary of guys they probably gonna cut after this year anyway.
That's very true. Stack, I'm gonna start this next question out with you too, because you in Atlanta. Should the Atlanta Falcons right now trade for Julio Jones? Trade Julio Jones and try to see if they can get some draft picks for him.
No.
Are you making that decision with your heart or with your,
No, Julio is whatever that is good about the Falcons organization is Julio Jones right now. I don't see them letting him go.
All right.
Frank said that like a father talking to a son. His first time falling in love. Do you really love?
Tell me why?
And I'm not a Falcons fan at all. So.
Yes, you are. You're a Falcons fan a little bit.
You have to be.
I'm really not.
Man, you cannot go to Magic City and not be a Falcons fan.
You
Don't
sure
let them
can.
find that out, Stein.
You sure can.
He didn't respect your answer. He said, "Do you really love this girl? Do you know her parents? Did you meet her parents?"
Dallas, should Julio Jones be traded? Is he the Falcons?
Yeah. Why not? Okay. I definitely it makes sense for the team. One team more than the other, obviously, but it definitely was. It's not time for the Dolphins.
All right, Fig, what you think?
Yo, it's crazy, man. I really do, because if you care anything about this dude, man, and anything about his career, you need to trade him, man, because clearly your organization is not going anywhere. They haven't really won anything, and they need to rebuild. And Julio Jones is a big piece that they could probably get a lot for and just start the rebuilding process, because they know where they're going. They're not going to the playoffs. They're not going to win nothing. And you got this guy, this piece, who you could trade and get enough back to help you start your rebuilding process.
Stack, what's Atlanta's record right now? I know you know.
I don't know.
0-6.
I think they 1-5. Though, honestly, I think they 1-5 or 1-6. I think they only.
This is my thing. I think Atlanta. The reason why you don't trade Julio is because you're really only they don't even have a GM and a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna rebuild with no GM.
Well, no, they're gonna stop building.
How many wins they got, Stacks?
I'm about to tell you right now. Let me see here.
Well, while you look that up, right? I'm gonna throw out another question, or I'm gonna get my other question ready, and it's gonna be for you New York guys. You know what I mean? Because I love to talk to you New York guys about the Jets and their picks.
1-6.
I told you
1-6.
1-6. I know they only won one game. Now,
I mean, do Julio a favor and get rid of him, man.
We talked yesterday about the Jets having 23 picks over the next 3 years. We also talked about Justin Herbert. They talked more extensively about Justin Herbert this morning, about basically trying to say, making a decision whether or not he's going to stay or come out. Now, a lot of people are starting to speculate that he might actually play for another year at Clemson instead of coming out. Now, if you are the Jets and you have 23 draft picks, talent, do you make some major moves to show the incoming players like Trevor Lawrence and other players that you're definitely trying to rebuild in the right direction, or do you keep all the picks and keep continuing to draft college players? What do you do?
No. You have to. If you're expecting to lure somebody in of any caliber, you're going to have to show the direction you're working towards. Nobody's going to just come on a whim on a word. Like, if you start now, you got a lot of picks. So your first 3 or 4 could just show. You know what I mean? Like, but you show, look the direction I'm going in. Look what I know I need to do. So then the player that of any caliber be like, you know what? I see what they're doing. They're going in that direction. That's the direction I can work with. I'll sign. Other than that, it's not going to happen. You can't. Nobody's coming on the pinky sweat. Not right now.
Yeah, I don't see nobody coming. But hey, what's your thought process? If you got 23
my
picks,
first thought is, how horrible does a team have to be when you can't even get a guy who don't have a say so?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this hurt. He ain't got no say so at all. When you get drafted, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And they even worried about him coming. So how bad are you? You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, first off, you know how you start luring guys? Get rid of that damn coach, because he's garbage. Mm-hmm. You gotta get rid of the coach, man. The coach ain't did nothing since he got there, man. Everybody that has any talent on that team, no pun intended, they want to leave. All of the great players want to go. It's got to be something wrong with the culture there, man. You got to get rid of the coach. You got to get rid of that staff and start your culture over, man. And once you do that, then you can lure the players in. Let me tell you something. What I would do, I would clean house right now. I get me a new coach. I get in the middle of the season. I get me a new staff and stuff like that. And then I trade a couple of those players. If Julio Jones is on the block, I'd trade a couple of those picks and get me a Julio Jones with a new staff and the quarterback that I got right now, Sam Darnold. Man, I'm telling you, this kid is good. This quarterback is decent, man.
Hey, Fig, would you get rid of Paul?
Who?
Don't be Paul. Out in the parking lot. You firing people.
Don't be Paul.
Yo, don't be Paul. Like, yeah.
Don't be Paul.
I get rid of a bunch of, yo,
Hey,
man, you gotta change your organization, man, to show that you're going in the right direction.
That's the same. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. They need to overhaul some of the upper management, and I definitely think they need to give Darnold an opportunity to have some success there, because no other quarterback's going to come when they see you used a high draft pick on somebody already and got Darnold, and you're not really you're not fighting for him. You're not giving him an opportunity to win. That's, if anything, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, that's my fear anyway. The organization, they're not really giving Darnold a chance, and he's talented.
I guess the question really remains is there's going to be a lot of people in the Jets organization sitting on the edge of their chairs trying to figure out if Trevor Lawrence is going to go back to school or not. But I would get again. I'm gonna
take care of home. They need to take care of home.
But listen, the Jets already have a quarterback. You know what I mean? They already have a quarterback.
Exactly.
Sam Donald's not a bad quarterback. But if you're the Jets and you're trying to put behinds in the seats, I guess you get Trevor Lawrence, right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you put behinds in the seats to watch you lose some more. I mean, at the end of the day, man, look,
the Cowboys is working for them. You know what I mean?
Listen, Sam Darnold.
It's not working for them.
Trevor Lawrence.
People are coming to see the Cowboys play.
Well, yeah, but that's just regardless. People come to see Cowboys because they're Cowboys fans, not because they're winning.
Trevor Lawrence and Sam Darnold next year with this same team, running for his life. If I'm the Jets, I'd beef up that offensive line. If I got all of those picks, I'm putting some of those picks on my offensive line. I'm getting me some defensive players. You know what I mean? Somebody to make some noise, and I protect what I already have in Sam Darnold. I'm not going to Trevor Lawrence. That's the big splash move that doesn't work. That's the same thing the Knicks do. They go for the big splash and no substance.
Yeah, but two words come to mind that we got to respect, and those two words are marketing and revenue. And like Frank said, putting asses in the seats is part of your marketing and eventually revenue. Now, you like right now, one thing you can't do because you didn't set Sam Darnold up right, you cannot turn around and market him at all because you did him a disservice. So he's not marketable, even though he's a solid, good quarterback. If you're trying to put more asses in the seats eventually, you're going to have to find somebody that goes along with the marketing, which turns into revenue.
Yeah, but not you.
But if you win in New York, you can put. But
wait a minute. You're not putting no behinds in the seats during the pandemic. This thing is going on for the next 3 years.
We're talking about words. We're talking about future, and nobody's saying you're going
3 years.
We don't know that.
I'm telling you 3 years.
No, but you don't know that.
Well, who are you?
I tell you what. You want to put money on it?
It's not about money or not.
It's 3 years.
No,
we ain't going nowhere to the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024.
I'll put money on it. I'll put money on that.
I'll put money.
Text your amount. Let's do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I wouldn't put money on that if I was anybody because they already putting 20% of the audience back in the stands right now. Right now during a pandemic. But anyway, we gotta get ready to go. We gotta get ready to go. We gotta get rolled out. Talent, tell everybody out there how they can follow you.
Follow me on Twitter, y'all. I'm at It's Just Comedy. My Instagram, Talent the Comedian. And on Facebook, I'm King Talent Harris. Either way, you can rock out with me. Okay?
That's true, man. He is all of those things on all of those social media platforms because I've been there several times. That's where I vacation sometimes. I take my towel and my beach stuff, you know what I mean, with lawn chair, and I hang out there because it'd be pretty warm. Yes, indeed. Or if you're looking for me and you don't see me on Talent's page, you can find me at Comedian Fig on all social media platforms.
Stack.
Y'all catch me at Stacking Over on all social media platforms. Y'all can also catch me firing up the Pelican Brief articles about Sam Darnold coming to the Patriots.
No.
I'm just saying we could do better. You could do better, Darnold.
Burn that article right now.
You can do better. You can do better.
Yeah, burn that
Y'all
article.
must stop talking about these non-winning pay right now. Because
anyway,
your day is over.
My name is Frank Holder. That's Talent. That's Fig. That's Stack. You're watching the show called The Box Seat. We're on every Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 o'clock. We are on the Humor Mill app. And if you want to see us tomorrow, tune back in at 1 o'clock. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, tell your cable service provider to add us. Tomorrow we'll be back. We might even have a guest. And Rodney Perry will be back tomorrow and talk about what I disagree. And if he was on today, he would have had a lot of stuff to disagree with. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.
Bomb.